sir, I know you're a Christian, and Nigeria is a very religious, conscious country. So anything we want to do, we want to be sure, we want to check in on God first. What's God's opinion about this before we do it? So what would you say to Christians who are actually having doubt, or even Muslims who are having doubt as to, is God actually really happy with me if I go through, this kind of thing? But at the same time, they are very uncomfortable in their body and they would like to make one changes or the other. What would your advice be? Because I know you are also a Christian. So please give us your, answer to that.
Then let me assume that my opinion is right, or is what God is saying.
Okay.
Do you understand? But I'll tell you a few things that maybe will give a little answer to that. I was interviewed on one of the national TVs recently, and they asked me about the same question. I said, anybody stands to be God. Do you understand? For me, religion is about how I relate to you. You understand? And then to God. My worship, my religion, actually, if you look at it critically, there is a personal devotion between me and my Maker. Do you understand? But every other thing that we'll be judged about is my relationship with other people. Do you get? So, now, who says God has created this person this way or that way? I can tell you, hardly, if you look at the emotional burden of not having what they wanted, majority need these procedures for better life and better health. Take for example, I'm going to do a breast lift surgery this morning. Even you, if you see the size of the breast, you'll pity the person that is carrying this much load. Do you understand? Not talk about I've had someone who recently, since childhood, she has been pointing attention of all the people around her to the fact that one of her breasts is not been growing. Do you understand? And she even told me, up to maybe a month or two ago, that she still visited somebody. The person was saying, don't worry, it will still grow. She's an adult now. Wow. Do you understand? And I may show you the pictures later. Do you understand? Tell me, that one actually needs cosmetic surgery. That one actually needs plastic surgery. Do you get? I've talked about the health benefits that comes along. I can also let you know that the fact that people use the fat to enhance one part of the body or the other, they are not the majority. If you now factor those that are doing liposuction removal of those fat from the body, they are the largest. Just removing and discarding. Of course, some of us have skills to now use it to sculpture somebody, to look figure 8. So whether you transfer to enhance your body, to make it bigger or not make it bigger, make your breast bigger, make your lip enhance, make your face enhance, and stuff like that, doesn't really matter much. What matters is you are removing it, it's giving you whatever results you want.
So we'll go to the aspect of actually running a business in Nigeria. We realize a lot of people face so many challenges running business in this country. But I know this industry is thriving and it's growing very well too. So how has it been for you running this business in Nigeria? How profitable is it? And, how are the millions coming in?
Well, let me say I'm a baby in business and I'm learning every day and growing. If you know what I like to do on the side, it's about learning about business, learning about things that are not medical related, In fact, I'm running a course now online, German, on business management and stuff. I've had several of such things. But the truth is that I always believe, and I always try to motivate people to know that everything starts from the mind. You have to conquer fear and negativity from your mind first. Number 2 is the fact that you must eliminate greed. Do you understand? And why? I can tell you, we have processes in our center in which people can pay us. Okay, somebody paid us 2 days ago and she's waiting to do her surgery next year. You know what that means? That is trust. That is trust. And it matters a lot. But what I see that make young people, struggle out of business is the fact that they want to have it all probably to themselves. Do you get? So now, maybe if we cite the example of our journey a bit, and which I also say one of the ways, especially doctors and maybe young people can do business. I'm even writing something now, but I'm targeting it towards my siblings actually. What to make your business idea easily sellable to somebody else. Do you understand? It's the fact that don't mind high running costs at the beginning. I don't know, maybe because that's the method we adopted. The method we adopted, why I've not tried to mention amounts on this interview, but it was very expensive. That, okay, at the time we were starting, we did not mind paying 30% of whatever the patient pays to the hospital hosting us. Even though in their I don't know what kind of thinking they thought, why I'm trying to avoid the precise amounts, they were thinking that maybe we were collecting up to like times 10 of that from patients. It was never so. But we had a place we were going. We had a vision of where we want to reach. And we felt, okay, rather than now looking for a place to rent, looking for a place to, build, looking for a place to maybe buy, equip with this and that, buy gen, hire staff, and all those things. We don't need to do all that. Let's just pay them for whatever they want to collect, charge us, and let's keep running. But while doing that, we maintained our brand in that place. So when you come into that place, you know that our brand, our practice is hosted in this place. So putting that aside, you understand? You should know that whatever can be offered anywhere in the world and patronized anywhere in the world can be offered in Nigeria, and Nigerians will patronize. Nigerians will like to take care of ourselves. We like to spend money. Do you understand? Like I mentioned earlier, Nigerians will go anywhere in the world to get this service. Forget the economy. They would rather work hard. I think sometimes maybe you people that are in business and know the figures that goes on in town, you may be cognizant of this. Nigerians are not cognizant of that. What they are cognizant of is, how much do I need to do this? How long can I raise this? Can I wait for 1 or 2 years to do it? They will do it. Do you understand? Now, so that's what I also see. Nobody provides you light. Nobody provides you water. Nobody provides you road. Do you understand? Just do it and find a way to do it. The other thing I know Nigerians like is give them quality. The excellent service involves the quality of your staff, customer care, and the product or service you are rendering. Let it be that is the best. Sometimes if you are not at the top yet, they know that you are going somewhere. Do you understand? So, but as at what you can offer at that point in time, you are offering them your best. People can sense, pretense. They can sense sincerity in you. So when they know that, and you're offering them those quality service, they will keep coming. Do you understand? The other part is, when you are packaged quality inside in your service, the presentation should be excellent also. Do you understand? So make sure you provide an excellent, attractive presentation. All of us are emotional beings. If I go on to the side of discussing emotion in business, it's a whole lot. But I can tell you, put emotion in your business, you will succeed. If I will summarize, first, as a starter, do not mind a low starting cost, but a high running cost. But you must have a place where you are going, and you must never forget that your part to it. So, I think I set an example of what I meant by that. You understand? You must build trust, very, very big trust in your client and your vendors. And like I said, excellent service. Excellent service. Your packaging, everything should be excellent from out to in, from in to out. And like I said, everything comes from the mind. By God's grace, I believe that I believe that I or we, the owners of this business, do not own this business. We believe it's God that owns it. And if you know our journey so far, we can't have time to be discussing all that. You know that it's just like that. We found our common grace, you know, and then things that we just say we want to do, as long as we put our mind to say we want to do it, we know God is the one that. In fact, okay, I'll give you an example. I'll tell my people, I say, whatever God has done, you just do like this and just be looking. I say it in Yoruba. Do you understand? Some of the many challenges we face and conquered, it's just that we just know that God is there. And then we just fall and be looking. That's the truth.
I know you're a very wonderful man, and I've read so much about you. I heard about Kind Heart International Organization and the beautiful things that you are doing. So, you know, would like you to share some of the things that you're doing, and if you would like people to come in, and, you know, what are the things you want them to actually, you know, do for Kind Heart?
Yes, in fact, if I'll have asked you how did you know, but if you know me, you know this is all the reason why I'm in life, in this life. That's my existence, actually. That's my purpose in life. Even though I know that, you know, when God woke me up one night like that and said, the vision is that, the way he said is that, the vision is that you will raise $1 billion seed fund. That's the word. If they say something is a seed, what does that mean? It is even just the smallest. They said if you have a vision and it's not bigger than you and you're not afraid of it, then it's not a vision. Just leave it. Don't go and discard it. I was shaking. So with time, I started understanding. Do you understand? Now, Kind Heart is all about help to cancer patients. Even though we have you know, timelined how it will go. At the beginning, we have selection criteria, but eventually, whether in our lifetime or not, it will cover all cancer patients all over the world. Do you understand? So Kind Heart is about support to cancer patients, especially those who cannot afford. What we are intending to do and will be doing is that by God's grace, we'll be funding treatment of cancer patients. And you can just imagine how impossible that is. But it's not anybody's thing, it's God's. And I believe that's the reason why I am still alive. Not only the reason why I came to this world, but even the reason why I am still alive. You know, when I would have died, when some people will have slaughtered me in the city of Kano, God preserved my life. And it was just around the time I received this vision. You understand? You know, I was reading Mrs. Oyakhilom's segment of what they call this, their Rhapsody. You understand? And it was like she was just hammering something in my heart. You understand? I cannot just drop that vision from that point. At the end of the day, God just gave me the idea of what you would call it, Kind Heart. You know, so
How can people call you?
now, with time, you know, we know by God's grace we will have willing donors and so on like that. And I don't want to be jumping guns, you know. But initially, as we are building now, we have been building different teams. We go online on our website, Kind Hearts. That's S. Kind Hearts with S. kindheartsng.org. Go there, you see the page, see what we are doing, see how you can volunteer or donate, and so on and so forth like that. Now, with time, what we intend to do is that in each geopolitical region in Nigeria, there will be a world-class cancer center. That will be offering either free or cheapest service to cancer patients. So one day, I cross-check, how much will it cost to be this? It's exactly $1 billion. I was shocked. That's about like 2 years after God told me the seed fund will be $1 billion. And it's a seed fund. That means that's the beginning. And the vision is that eventually in Nigeria here, people will know that having cancer is not your fault. Having cancer, you cannot probably control it. So they need support. The government should factor it into legislation that all cancer patients should be treated for free. And from Nigeria, we spread that opportunity around the world, in which every country of the world should legislate it that all cancer patients should be treated for free.
So, lastly, doctor, please could you, advise the young people how they would like to make this a profession? What roadmap do they have to follow? What are the things they need to do? And maybe any other advice, for the young people?
Passion first, actually. Sometimes I tell people, I'll never tell any of my children to say go and read medicine. Because if you are not passionate about it, it's like you just go through it grudgingly, you come out, you are not happy. You understand? Because it demands a lot. And the higher you go, the higher the demand. I'm sure you'll have come across medical students, colleagues, friends when you were in school. You understand? You say, this is kind of life somehow. That is the smallest part of it. The demand increases as time goes by. You understand? The demand increases. So you have to be passionate about what you love to do. So parents, friends, family, everybody, we should let people see what they are passionate about and pursue it. So if medicine is your passion, it is not difficult. It's just that you must sell yourself totally to it. Once medicine does actually not require intelligent people as it is. Even though somehow, intelligent people end up packing themselves there because, like I told you, it's challenging. You want to somewhere that is challenging and stuff. If you're intelligent, you're not passionate about it, you fall along the line. But if you're intelligent and you're passionate about it, of course, you'll be top there. Now, it doesn't really need intelligence. It needs people to say, you can sit down and devote yourself to this work fully. Do you understand? So once that is there, you go through it and you'll be happy. Now, for becoming a surgeon, after you have read medicine, you have done house job, and then you go to serve. House job is what they call housemanship. We call it housemanship. They call it internship in other professions for 1 year, and then you go to serve, except if you have passed the age of service. Okay. After that, you go write certain exams, to now start a training in a subspecialty, in a specialty you want to choose. Later, as you go on, you can now come down again to certain subspecialty. So, having done that, I went in for, or you will have to go in for surgery. When you now get into surgery, you pass the levels, you now choose a special area called plastic surgery. And in plastic surgery, it's broad, and you have to know everything. And then you can now later come down more into an aspect. And we have several aspects. Plastic surgery is from head to toe. You can just choose hand alone, just hand, from the wrist downward. And it's a whole world of a specialty of his own.
But you do everything.
That's what I'm saying.
Wow.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So after doing plastic surgery, you can now decide to come down somewhere. And then aesthetic surgery, like I mentioned also, it's just one very small aspect of plastic surgery. You understand? So now, having done that, what I want to encourage, like we have encouraged young men, and also encourage people who want to go into plastic surgery, is not only the fact that the market is big, the need is high. I can tell you, we have so many plastic surgeons in this world, in this country. So many. It's just like, okay, some of us have had to come out of the system where the demand is so high, where many of our people are, to come out after having done certain level in that place, and we felt, okay, we have made up our mind from long ago that this is what we are going to do. So we came out, and that's why it looks as if they are seeing us. Do you understand? So the demand is there. The market is also big, and then of course, like I said to myself, by 45 I should be leaving this place. Do you understand? So we need people to come and replace us and do better than we've been doing. So they can only start from where we are reaching or stopping and continue. Yeah, and continue further. So the other thing that I need to mention there is when you are training as a plastic surgeon, the demand is so much that if you are not careful, if you see other people, when they see you, they feel, no, I don't want to go into this one. The wala is too much. Sometimes I'll be telling young people, this field is good. Don't look at the fact that we are suffering like this and run away. Do you understand? Come now. Sometimes when they send you, because out of the training you have to go through other specialties. If they send you to plastic surgery, they will put their hand on hey, who did I offend? Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Embrace it. Except, but if their passion is not there, they should just leave it. But it is actually rewarding. It's actually rewarding. Like I mentioned, you can't be a plastic surgeon and the next day and they will not be looking for you. Because every other surgeon needs us. Every other surgeon. And most of the time, we set the pace on how something should be done. Because we know.
So, these days, one of the things that is almost renewable, that you can never get enough of is people's opinion. So please, I want you to bust 5 myths for us about plastic surgery. There are a lot of wrong information out there. So just give us 5, bust them. Is this, is that, is not that, is this and that. Just bust those 5 myths for us.
Well, maybe the first and the commonest one is that, okay, plastic surgery is not all about aesthetic surgery. You understand? Number 2, for Nigeria, people have been patronizing plastic surgery for so long. You understand? Number 3, plastic surgery or cosmetic surgery enhancing your body, does not prevent having children in any way. It doesn't stop you from breastfeeding your child in any way. It doesn't affect it in any way. In fact, if you have to go into detail on that one, it will be so funny that people just believe certain things that are wrong. It's not so costly as people felt. Do you understand? At least like I compared in the talk. You understand? It's not as costly as at least the fact that it's available in the country. That automatically removes so much cost for people who feel they need it. You understand? Well, which other one will I say? I think I've said so many things, along the line that wrong notions people have about plastic surgery. And the part to it is that even though I said, well, I won't say that I'm God in this one. You understand? Nobody's been thinking God is against this.
Doctor, you may be seeing me very, very soon. In fact, sooner than you expect. So thank you so much for coming. In fact, I was jotting down a lot. I've learned so much today. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to actually, speak to us today. It means a lot to us. Thank you for what you are doing. We are hearing about you so much, and may God bless you and continue to, bless what you do.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah.